What's up, fam? Thomas here, chiming in from the editing booth. Before we get started this week, just wanted to let you know we had a last-minute change of plans. We were going to shake out the mailbag this week, but we decided to move that to next week because we were able to get Skura on the show for an interview after his performance at Paupergeddon and also Polish Nationals that just this past weekend. Back-to-back weekends, insane performances, top 4 at Paupergeddon, and winning Polish Nationals. So we decided to get him onto the show, and we had a great time. We had a great interview. You're going to hear all about his performance with Mono Blue Fairies, his thoughts on the deck, etc., etc. But that does not mean we've forgotten the mailbag. We will be opening the mailbag next week, so if you have any additional questions you want to send in, any topics you want to hear us talk about, feel free to send those into commongroundmtgpod@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to read as many as we can next week. Also, stay tuned at the end of the pod. We give a little sneak peek of what's coming a couple weeks from now as part of our 2024 recap episode. So stay tuned for that. And for this week, enjoy our interview with Skura.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Common Ground Podcast, your favorite podcast where we talk about your favorite format, Pauper. I am your co-host, Cameron Schindler. Episode 53, the big 5-3, joined, as always, with my other co-host, Thomas Gunn.
What's up, brother? How's it going with you?
Just, I think we're all, my head brain is just not
crazy traffic in Nashville on the way to getting to recording today, so...
Also joined by James Hippo Hieronymus.
It is I,
Mudang's disciple.
No. Other way around.
Oh, okay. Oh,
the Hippo, disciple of Mudang.
I'm not going to ask how you are, I already know. Also joined by a very special guest. Shout out to our buddy Spencer for getting us in contact with you. Skura. I did good pronouncing that?
Oh, yeah, but you did perfect. Yeah, I'm also known as Islands in Front on Twitter. You might have seen that.
You play with your islands in front. Is that correct?
Do. Yes, unironically, I do.
That's mad respect.
Love it.
Put the fear in God in people's hearts.
so there is a story behind it, and it's rather unexciting, but people think I'm doing it on purpose to throw people off, which is not the case. I just used to play Control when I started playing Magic, and so naturally my most important permanents were lands, right? So I put them where they mattered, and so I just kept the habit, regardless of what I play, and so lands are indeed in the very front, which might be confusing, I guess, when I play creature decks, but people don't tend to really pay attention. People who really care about that are typically Twitch chat, but judges, opponents, they don't know, they never mind.
They'll complain about anything anyway.
Yeah, Twitch chat complains about anything they can get their hands on.
It's whatever. I'm going to throw you on blast real quick, too. I heard some rumors that you weren't the biggest fan of Pauper beforehand, and that the games never end.
Well, okay. So that is very true. So coming from Modern, I'm a long time Modern player, but thanks to Modern Horizons 3, I no longer am.
Feel that.
Same.
Joined by the same sentiment with everyone in this room.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, so I wanted to test for Paupergeddon because my friends wanted to go. So yeah, sure, let's play a bit. But I had this feeling of, games dragging on forever, like, Core Skyfishers bouncing Ichor Wellsprings and people playing Taplands and just never ended. And the creatures were so bad, it took you 11 attacks to get the game over with. And I know the usual exception was Kuldotha, but it's like an exception to the rule that proves the rule itself. So, the games felt like they dragged on forever. Again, coming from Modern, they definitely did. But then I switched kind of my perspective and I started appreciating the pure magic in it, let's say, that the games actually last, and that's a feature, not a bug. Mm-hmm. And when I realized that, it actually became an immense feature in my eyes, honestly.
No, it's so true. It's something we really enjoy about Pauper. As you're saying that, James Hippo over here is just this is everything I love about Magic. What are you talking about? Games are going on forever. This is great. You
said Core Skyfishers and bouncing Ichor Wellsprings right up my alley.
It's kind of funny that you were saying the games never end, and you said you started as a Control player too. So it's just like you should feel right at home, I get what you mean. They're very, very grindy games where it feels like a lot of micro decisions matter, but it can be a really quick format because you hear the comparison a lot of people like, oh, Kadotha's so fast, it could beat a legacy deck maybe.
I think what also contributed to my opinion was that the games dragged on, but a lot of game actions seemed not to really progress the game because you marginally gained an advantage, or like you spent in total 4 mana to draw a card, like with Skyfisher. So it felt like, well, you barely accomplished anything. But you're actually up on material, so you're going to do the same thing, 4 mana, draw a card, 11 times, and then you'll be properly ahead, and then I'll lose.
I'll play my Boro synthesizer for the 16th time first.
Yeah, like I remember there was a card, Ornament, something was banned.
Bonder's Ornament.
Yeah, and looking from outside, it was just what? Why? Why would you ban that? It's awful. And it just kind of tied into the idea I had of, again, games never ending and people paying 4 mana to draw a card, and that being busted apparently.
So you got dragged in the Pauper by some friends for Paupergeddon, is that correct?
Yeah, basically, yeah. My friend, actually, I have a Polish podcast.
Oh, cool. What is it?
Yeah, so the English translation is going to be very clever. Okay, hold. It will be Game Magic Podcast.
Okay, perfect.
Nice. Yes. I thought it would be very, very, very hilarious if I translate the Magic's basically name 1-to-1 to Polish. Anyways, it's a 2-person podcast, and my friend actually plays Pauper locally from time to time. And so he said, there's Paupergeddon, let's go. I said, no worries. I always like going to Magic events, regardless of the format. I just like playing Magic. And so that was the reason to start. And the moment we decided to go, I started caring because, for one, I'm actually paying money to go. So, I want to do well. And there is a trio tournament. So it will feel kind of bad to let my friends down. So I actually wanted to put the work in. So I actually started caring about the format, like, properly, yeah.
So how did you end up landing on Mono Blue Fairies? I hear there's a bit of a story to that, too.
Oh, boy, is there. Well, so, because Trios is unified, we had to split the cards strategically.
Now, I didn't realize it was unified. That's cool.
Oh, it was.
That's really cool.
Yes. And we all know that there are some key cards that are the best in the format. So Deadly Dispute, Chrysalis, and some other ones. But the main two.
Yeah, those two in particular.
We needed to split them somehow. Now, I am known as the blue player. Islands in front again. So I was testing blue-red Scred. Because it played like a control deck, but kind of like a Murktide-esque, because the curve was really low. Threats at the top. It was, I vibed with it. But then as the time went on, we realized that maybe going mono blue would be the best. It eats out the least cards, and Terra is in the top 5 decks. So why not just play mono blue Terra? So we landed on mono blue Terra. So we go to Italy. Again, mono blue Terra is blocked for me. We go to Italy. We land in Rome. We're on the train to our Airbnb. And then for some reason, the train just stops. And we are told there is a strike of the, railway strike or something. Okay. So we're just in our train for an hour, doing nothing and just hoping it moves. And we just kept being told, in 5 minutes, we will go, in Italian. And at some point, my friend Sodek, who you might know because he's a PT level player, dredge aficionado, and he just...
Very familiar.
Yes, exactly. So Sodek was one of my teammates. At some point, he said, maybe we'll just sleeve up our decks, because what else are we going to do? I said, sure, why not? So he gave me the deck box. I opened the deck box. I flicked through the cards. And once I go past islands, I see Spell Starter Sprite. Because he'd given me the wrong box.
Lucky you.
And then I say out loud, maybe I'll play Fairies.
Such a living in player thing to do.
And then guys say just, whatever. Sure, that's okay. And that's it.
So have you ever had any reps with this deck beforehand?
Oh, I played one league and I went 3-2. So yes, I did.
I mean, nobody ever 5-0s a league, so that's like
Yeah, I mean, but literally, I 3-2'd one league because I wanted to try out different decks, so I tried out Blue Fairies, and that's it. There was a pure vibes decision, right?
that's awesome because spoiler alert, it worked out very well for you. We didn't even mention like your insane run this weekend.
Over 2 weekends.
Over
2 weekends.
Absolutely
2 weekends.
insane.
My bad. It all blended together in my head.
It did. It's, well, because we were starting to get some potential inklings of having you on the show, and then you just ran up another tournament with the same deck, and we're like, all right, we definitely have to chat about this. This is a sick run.
Yeah, in between you messaging us or messaging me initially, and then like me messaging you back, you just like won nationals too. I was like, what absolute fire streak is he on?
That's correct. We make a joke that Grixis Affinity win rate needs to be separated with Luffy. Day, No Shapala.
Kerblinsky literally did that.
Oh, that's funny.
Kerblinsky literally posted the data with Luffy as their own archetype for the weekend, and they still had like a 70% win rate.
We need to do that with you and Mono Blue Fairies because I saw like the combined like win rate matches and stuff from like over the weekends, and its worst matchup was Gruul Ramp at 50% and then itself at 50%. That was it. Everything else,
no bad matchups.
Yeah, and I'm like, this has got to be from you too.
I mean, I think it has to because Mono Blue doesn't have a lot of converted number of matches, like total, and I myself put in like 35, winning 31 of those.
Yeah, I think the number was 86 in total, so that's damn near half.
Yeah. But so just to finish off the deck choice story, I just ran off with Fairies. It's a purely vibes choice with, again, no real preparation. No preparation, just a single league. Doesn't matter. And I was supposed to play Affinity in the main event.
Okay.
And all the day throughout Friday when we played trios, I was thinking, do I play Fairies tomorrow or still Affinity? And the moment I finished the day 9-0 with the trios trophy, I thought, well, let's run it back. What's the worst that could happen? And well, rest is history.
It's hard not to at like such a. Did you just like find yourself like falling in love with the deck as your run just continued?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I love tricksy decks. I love outplaying opponents. I love, weird interactions. Like when I find a scenario where it's actually optimal to put your ninja in after damage, but still in combat because something, which actually came up in one of my matches. Like all those tricks, with snap and stuff. And the opponent being in like constant fear of what you can do, even though you're just a bunch of 1/1s. It's awesome.
I've been on the opposing end of a Mono Blue Spirits player, or Spirits.
Different format.
Yeah, Mono Blue
Close
Fairies player. Yeah, close enough. Just like running away with the game and it just like slipping turn by turn. And I'm just like, this is just falling apart.
So that's the story of my deck choice, which is definitely a story, but far from competitive hard preparation and hard testing that some people might expect.
Did you make any changes between? So was that yourself in your seat ran 9-0 for trios? Not necessarily your combined record. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, myself individually 9-0. I had to actually play and finish every round, and I won every round. Swiss plus
very impressive. Very impressive.
So just to add one more thing about the trios, because funnily enough, my friend Sodek, he kept winning alongside with me, and so he won every single match until the winning in. Then he lost in the winning in, and then my other friend then decided to win, and then Sodek never won beyond that point, but my other friend started and won.
Oh no!
Oh, nice.
So they just passed the torch. At very convenient moments.
I'm very familiar with that that
man.
experience. We just had a Team Trios event. It was Legacy, Standard, and Pauper, and I was the Standard seat for my team. And our Legacy seat was just on fire all day, but I was winning early until I petered off, and then our Pauper player picked up the slack when I was losing, and it's just so much fun to do, like in a team event where you can just like pick up each other's slack and have each other's back. Like, really looking forward to the next team event we get to play. Team Trios is sick. Super sick.
Oh, they are.
Did you make any changes to the list between Trios and your list for Paupergeddon?
Yeah. So there was only one thing I knew coming out of Trios, which is Force Spike sucks.
Would agree.
And I said to my friends that just give me any idea. Any idea is better than playing Force Spike. I'm not going to play it tomorrow. Anything. And so we were like, maybe 2 ponders. It's like, I guess, kind of underwhelming. And so at some point we just decided to play, I decided to play 4 Snare Master Sprite in the main deck, just to have this removal that tags Chrysalises, which I expected, but it's also always a 1-drop. So it also helps you with those nut draws when you want a 1-drop always for that ninja. So let's try that. And it freed up a sideboard slot as well. So that was, I think, the only change.
No, I know that's something that we called out. What was it, last week when we went over the Paupergeddon results?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely something I called out from your list when we went over it, is the full 4 Snare Master Sprite. Is you don't really see that in a ton of the blue Fey lists that are running around, like generally in leagues and challenges and such. And so I thought that was a really cool innovation into Chrysalis, like you said. And I imagine the Bind the Monsters in the board were also with Chrysalis in mind, though I imagine that they could also just be, just someone plays a big dude and you just get it out of the way.
Anything of reach or flying.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that, because actually now I remembered there was one more important change. So I borrowed the deck. So that's why Sodek gave me the deck, was I borrowed the deck. And it had Bind the Monster in the sideboard. But then at some point, I think Sodek realized that there is Unable to Scream in the format, or he saw it in the bind or something.
Yes.
And then he said, just go find it quickly, buy it, and we'll put it into the deck so you don't lose your life, against Chrysalis, against Big Tolarian Terra. And I had already submitted the deck list, but he said, no, just ask, maybe you can change it. Okay. So I bought like a 2 or 3 Unable to Screams, switched it out, all good. And I played with Unable in the Trios. And actually, another conclusion was, I don't want to play Unable to Scream. Actively, I don't. Because when I Unable to Scream my opponent's creature, and it has a counter on it, I'm just never, ever getting through on the ground. Just ever. And considering that removal is meant for Chrysalis is very, just gets counters very easily. Just very naturally, right? It's a play pattern that it promotes. So it's just an awful choice against Chrysalis specifically. On top of that, even if it's not against Chrysalis, an 0-2 creature blocks my Brine Barrows all the time, which is not that big of a deal, but it also chumps...
It comes up, yeah.
So it can soak up, let's say, 3 points of damage, plus 2 more from a ninja, that's 5, let's say, and it declines a draw. That's too much for me to have to deal with after I've played the removal spell. And so currently I'm of the opinion that unless you want to turn off, like, Crypt Rats or Murmuring Mystic, Bind the Monster is the way to go because of that tappedness of the creature.
No, I like that a lot. And like Crypt Rats has been kind of on a downswing a little bit. We've seen like this Jund Wildfires deck kind of take over the popularity, kind of not quite replacing Jund Gardens, but taking up that slot a little bit. And I think they're on the Cart Clan Shaman plan, which you could care less about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only deck that really plays the Crypt Rats at this point is just like the black green fog pile of cards.
Yeah, but we don't think about that deck.
I do. I played it. It was sick.
I didn't want to think about that deck either, but then unfortunately for me, when I was 9-1, my match was against Black Green Gardens with Crypt Rats, and it was a very important match because it was the match that would put me to 10-1, potentially to double ID into the top 8. So that was arguably the most important match. And it was a Crypt Rats deck with Defile, which is like the only efficient removal spell in the entire format. Because normally, even like Galvanic Blast decks play it on turn 2 or 3 because they play Taplands. well, this deck actually can turn 1 remove my creature. So Defile plus Snuff Out plus Crypt Rats made it a bit annoying. So I was quite disappointed to have to match up against such a deck at 9-1. I won. So, well, yeah, easy. But all throughout the match, my morale was just so low. It's insane. And then I definitely wished I had unable to scream, which I didn't.
I watched your YouTube recap at work today, where I was listening to while I was working and stuff, and I really liked your logic on a lot of decks right now in Pauper are leading off tap land and maybe even like a turn 2 Ichor Wellspring. So it's like if you're on the play, you were talking about how you really feel that disparity if like you have turn 1 Faerie and bad for them if you have a turn 2 Ninja into that. If they just go Deadly Dispute or something, you just like start pulling away so hard from there. And Gardens being one of the only decks left in the meta that has like the Defile in it and like the turn 1 interaction, and then the Snuff Out on top of that could be rough. I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. It just breaks off that dynamic that I would normally expect.
No, it's really good like thought process. Like when you said that, like my eyes kind of light up for a minute. I'm just like, I gotta get my fingers on this deck, like because it sounds fun.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a big uptick in spell center sprites.
It already has. I keep getting messages that I screwed up the online metagame. And then I got this firsthand because I fired up a league today and I played 2 mirror matches. And I thought, nah, I'm not doing that. No.
You ruined Pauper. Now we have to get the PFP involved.
I kind of did. Well, I kind of did. For myself, even.
Yeah, that's funny. It's kind of funny because like at the end of our like Pauper Gen recap and stuff, we were just like, man, we feel like just Deadly Dispute is like where you want to be in Pauper. And it just like makes sense if that's the most popular thing to be doing is like if you're exploiting people with these tap lands and stuff. So it's just like a nice push and pull we see of the meta, which like we get a lot of this in Pauper. Like there's so many decks that just like wax and wane because something's doing good, something shoots up. So
that's just a good sign of a healthy metagame too, or a healthier metagame, I should say. Of
course. So in your deck list for Pauper again, I saw like no relics or graveyard hate. Do you just feel like you have like a good matchup against the decks that utilize the graveyard already?
Okay, so let me give you another unprofessional response, similar to my deck choice reason. So, and some people might already guess, be able to guess the punchline. So, because we played trios, my other friends played Relic, and so I didn't. and then I just realized, having beaten like 3 terrors, during my 9-0 run, I just don't need that. Like, there's no reason to have that in that slot.
No, certainly not against Terror.
So I just then continued not having that in my sideboard. So, yeah, but it stemmed from just not having access to Relic because of the unified nature of the format.
And it's just like one of those things. It's like how many people are playing Dredge. I can just dodge that.
Yeah. And also, I really want I want to be the most efficient deck that exists in the entire format, kind of to properly combat the decks that just aren't, and they spend, again, as we've mentioned, 2 turns setting up. And I want my converted mana cost of the sideboard to be 1, and Relic is just kind of a hidden 2. It's basically a 2. So, and I have a very, very, very high bar for 2 mana in that deck, because it just really makes a difference. Like, for example, on turn 3, you can play 3 1 drops, a 2-drop, but you can never play 2 2-drops, right? And so 1 2-drop can be squeezed in somewhere. But if you happen to draw numerous 2-drops, the curve just doesn't work as well as I would like to. You don't have that how to say that? You don't have that efficiency, but yeah, efficiency. You can actually unload the cards, or maybe that's what I mean. Unload the cards. You want to actually play your cards.
You're playing your cards on curve. Yeah.
Yeah. On curve, no double spell as soon as turn 2. That's all I want to do with this deck. And so coming back to Relic, against Terra, I didn't find I needed, and every other graveyard-based deck is just kind of niche, random, tier 3 pile. So I'm just like, sure, just come at me.
And that makes sense, because like a lot of your 2-drops, like you were saying too, it's like a lot of them are like so flexible and so reactive. It's like Counterspell, Spellsetter Sprite, and like snaps and stuff. Those can be like, you can kind of
Snap is like kind of a 2-mana spell.
Yeah, like quotes 2-mana spell. You got to unlock it at 2 mana.
Yes.
But like they're very, very like flexible or reactive cards to get you out of pinches. And then there's Ninja the Deep Hour, which can just
cards.
which can just like run away with the game if it's left unchecked too. So it's like you're okay. It like draws you 2 cards in a way when it picks up a Spellsetter Sprite or a Faerie Seer or something. So you're okay spending 2 mana on that.
The issue with Relic as well is that I don't see, like, if I look at it from like a theory perspective, I'm not sure when I would even play one. Because if I do it on turn 1, I'm not enacting my plan at all. If I do it turn 2, then it means on turn 2, I could not have held up Counterspell, Spell Stutter, or played a Ninja. And even if it's Hacker, then it means I play Relic, but I can't crack it. So I just kind of feel it's a bit off.
Yeah.
When it comes to play patterns.
Like you're not doing the thing you're playing. You're trying to exploit the format for a reason. So it's like if you're not doing that, it's what's the point of playing fairies? That makes sense. I like that. It's like that's a good mindset.
And to be fair, I think even if that's the case, like the only like card that matters against like Dredge specifically is really just the 4-mana one, the Dread Return. And you just have Counterspell and they just lose.
And Spell Pierce. And
it's like
eventually a Spell Stutter Sprite. You just
even seems like it's just fine.
Yeah. There is no graveyard deck that will feel seriously threatened. And also, there's opportunity cost. If I play 3 Relic, what do I take out? And then those matchups get worse, whichever cards I decide to take out.
I guess, since we've never been to, like, a Paupergeddon event, of course, I think we're all, like, just curious and, like, vibes-based, too, you know? Like, just how, like, the feeling in the room is. Like, is it pretty chill? Like, I'm sure once you start getting into the 8-0, 9-0 bracket, or 9-1 bracket, it gets a little bit more competitive and people are definitely more looking to win, but like pretty chill vibes, would you say?
Oh, definitely. Oh, 100%. So because Pauper is so community driven, which is predictable because it's not really supported officially, which I think is a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree.
It's because it's community driven, it's all about community and everyone, I don't know, kind of likes each other, appreciates each other, you know, kind of congratulates each other if they do well. So no, the judges were super friendly. Everyone wanted it to be a success, contrary to, for example, like officially organized big events where you come in, for lack of a better word, kind of entitled to kind of proper service, to kind of proper quality because it's official from WotC or whichever, whoever is the organizer. But here we know it's an initiative from passionate Pauper players for passionate Pauper players. So we kind of all wanted to succeed. So it just creates this nice, non-complainy atmosphere, which I enjoyed. And I think the best thing, which stood out for me, is that vendors at the venue had everything. And even if it was the case for Modern, which it isn't, but even if it was, you couldn't really afford, forking out 2K for cards because you just felt like it. But here you can decide to fork out $100 and get a deck. Just get a full deck, whichever you want. And
man, that sounds like heaven.
That does.
Yeah, like specifically, I remember I was looking at the binder and there was spell starter sprites, like 10 of them. But I said, I want specifically Lorwyn, I want specifically English. And they said, give us a moment. And they took out like a box with, 50 spell starter sprites. And they just went through them and said, here you go, English Lorwyn. Okay. And they had such boxes or mini boxes of cards for like every staple, basically. You just go snuff out, original edition. No worries. There you go. So it was a proper heaven, especially for people who like very specific editions. They are pretty picky. If you're not picky, oh my god, you can get anything. Just go to town. So that was absolutely great. And also the prizes I have to mention, because the entry fee for the trio was €45, which is probably like $55. I don't know, I'm guessing.
That's about
And
right.
then we win the event, and then we are told that we are awarded €1,000, or actually 1,000 and a bit, like 1,200.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "What? Are you sure?" Yep. Yeah. Yes, €1,000, and I was flabbergasted. I just didn't expect that much for an entry fee of 50 to get 1,000 out.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
For something that's essentially a non-main event, right? It was just kind of like
Yeah,
big side
that's a
event
good
on
point,
Friday.
yeah.
So I was very pleasantly surprised with the prizes as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you walked away with positive EV over the weekend.
I definitely did, yeah.
That's awesome. Well deserved, well deserved.
Are there any particular stories from the actual matches you played in Poppergeddon? Like maybe like as you got closer to the top 8 and things like that? Were there any standout moments, either funny stories or really interesting plays or cool moments that you had? Anything like that comes to mind?
Yeah, numerous actually. So I alluded to this play earlier, but I want to break it down. So I was playing against Madness, and I was at 2 life, which is not good. And they had Kitchen Imp, which is not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no flyers, which is also not good for me. The only things I had on the board was Brine Barrow Intruder and Hacker. So my only out was to Hacker and cycle into a flyer to Trump. Or like maybe like a snap, but then they could haste it out. So it's basically just a flyer that helps me. So I attack in, deal damage, trigger, and I draw another Hacker. So that doesn't do it. But then, for some reason, my brain said, wait a moment. And I told my opponent that I'm going to hold priority before the combat ends, and I'm going to ninja in that Hacker to switch out the Brine Barrow Intruder, so that then on their turn, I can make the Kitchen Imp smaller and not deal lethal damage. So that was a cool one.
That's a really sick play. But it
Yeah,
didn't cause a wary opponent to call a judge or anything.
no, he didn't.
That's good.
I think they knew like when I explained what I'm doing, they understood the interaction. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it apparently does come up like this very
so
weird
cool.
timing. Also, that's much less of a flashy thing. But when I played against the Crypt Rats deck, my opponent was really reluctant to pop it off because they wanted to hold me at bay with my board presence. But then I just graciously accepted that fact and just kept attacking with the same 2 creatures over and over again. And because of that, my opponent took, let's say, 8 extra damage. And the moment it started getting really risky for them, it was too late. Because if they pop off the rat for 1, it doesn't kill my Ninja of Deep Hours. If they pop it for 2, then they're getting really low on life total. And then I unload. And I just beat Crypt Rats by playing very carefully and just pacing my threats and just kind of accepting. They thought they've got a stranglehold on me, but it was a call an ambulance situation in practice.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those were like the two plays I kind of remember the best. Of course, there were classics like put the ninja in, opponent plays a removal, I ninja it out for another ninja.
Yeah.
Okay, one more in the top 4 because I was actually on camera. Game 1 of my top 4 match at Poppergeddon, where I attack in for non-lethal. My opponent makes a block and blocks a ninja, so I attack in only for 2, but they are at 4. Then they try to remove one of the attackers. So then I ninja in. I ninja in, exchanging that thing that they wanted to kill, totaling the damage to 3, and then I snap the blocked ninja to put that in for the other attacker, totaling it to 4 for lethal. Which was, and again, you can rewatch it. I highly suggest that you do. It was another moment when I actually didn't realize I had lethal, but again, my brain said,
I know those
think.
moments. I've lived those moments where you're like, wait, you're that's over. The game's over. You just like stumble into it. Yeah.
It sounds like
such a relief.
It sounds like such a rewarding deck to play too. Like it sounds like it just like once if it like works out for you, you just feel like a mega genius.
You just can't put it into words. Like, for example, you sense that the opponent has breath weapon, for example. And the opponent knows they have breath weapon, you assume they do. And now we're dancing. Like, how do you play? Kind of maybe, do you entice them into breath weaponing at the moment you want? Or do you just continue not putting enough on the board to make them disincentivized to ever play it and waste their mana? Like it's like, even if the cards were open, like face up, I have a breath weapon, it wouldn't change much because you're still playing as if it was there, but you're navigating the game in such a way that the opponent doesn't even know. Should I play it now? I guess maybe. It's just fascinating. The deck is absolutely fascinating.
And Dimir Fae was my first Pauper deck, so I feel that a little bit different, a little bit slower, but just like still that same like aggro interactive kind of style that just some reason with these kind of decks, like just how your opponent plays, you get in these positions where it's like you might as well be playing open face, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we love that. And obviously decided to run it back for nationals, so let's talk about changes from there.
Yeah, walk us through because we don't have, as far as I'm aware, we don't have like a United States national Pauper thing link up. Maybe something we should talk with some other areas and get going. But
we're like the most greedy in like every other category of Magic. Like we're getting the most Spotlight series. We got the most GPs.
Yeah.
But we just lack in this Pauper scene for some reason. We don't got the love.
Yeah, so walk us through what the national system is, because if we look through results, there's like Brazilian nationals and UK nationals and all these other places. So this is the Polish nationals. Are all of these circuits linked up through a greater like system, or is this just kind of local to each country?
Yeah, so there is a body called Lega Pauper Italia, and I might have butchered the name, but that's the thing. LPI is the abbreviation. And so it's like a whole body that unifies European Pauper play. So now coming into Paupergeddon, I had not been aware of its existence or anything. So for example, when we played in the finals of the trio, we were told that we get some number of LPI points. But for us was like, yeah, whatever, some points, doesn't matter. Now, spoiler alert, they did matter, but I'll go on to that a bit later. So basically, this was a super LPI type of tournament, kind of this nationals. So if you win or you do well, you get more points than you normally would from other LPI related tournaments, and your local shop can probably talk to LPI to have like an LPI league, local league, and then get points from there. Right, but the whole point is that you gather points, and those points are translated into you qualifying or not qualifying for like a yearly Pauper Player of the Year tournament.
Okay.
And you have to cross a certain threshold.
Does that happen over MTGO or in paper, do you know?
It's in paper.
Oh, okay.
Paper, yeah. I just wanted to say that basically after every tournament that was organized by an LPI affiliated let's say LGS, after the tournament you just submit the result to LPI, and then they can update the ranking of you or your point score in the entire system, and everything's public, so you could, for example, look me up and see how many points I've got.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, because I had noticed Lorenzo Aldigeri, who made top 8 with their black-green version of the Glee deck, their Season of Mists online. And when they listed their matchup breakdown, they had a round 1 bye because of their points. So I was like, oh, this is probably something that we're not quite getting the full picture on. So thank you for breaking that down.
Yeah. So actually, another thing which we hadn't realized at the moment is that after the trio win, we also got bye for the Paupergeddon main event.
Nice.
So we were just given something at every moment which we had not expect or didn't know existed.
The positive
like,
EV.
oh. Yeah, it's like, oh, you've got buys and we get one. Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll take it.
Magic stonks.
Say no more.
So actually, the threshold for that invitational, the yearly invitational, is 300 points. And to give you some perspective, for the trio win, we got, I think, 200-ish. Okay. I'm not sure if it was 250 or like 170. I don't remember the exact, but it was 200-ish. It was short, but just short of the qualification. Now, needless to say, my next performance definitely met the threshold. Yes. And I was told that now, after another performance of mine, which happened a couple of days ago, I will be ranked 11th in Europe.
11
on points.
Let's go.
That's awesome.
That is sick.
Just
really sick.
And just I wasn't even in the system before that. I was just bam.
That's
right. And they also have like a predictive system of like the next year's points. Like predictive system, based on your performance, which place you're going to be, and that system would rank me as third. So wow. So like
I don't know. Just 3
3
events. That's crazy.
Just literally 2 weekends. Just too easy. Yeah.
No quitting while you're ahead though. You got to keep the train rolling.
Yes. But now back to your original question about the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that 2 Snare Master sprites, or 2 additional Snare Master sprites, were there to replace Fall Spike, which was awful. But it doesn't mean Snare Master wasn't. It was okay. It was like, yeah, I mean, sure. I kept it in when I would have sided it in, but sometimes I sided all 4 out. It was okay. But I knew that these 2 slots were something to be improved upon. I just didn't know where to go. And then after thinking and brainstorming and asking my friends, I came to the perfect conclusion. And oh boy, is this a conclusion. I played 2 Dispel in that slot. And this changes everything. This is such a banger. And you're not going to be a believer until you try it, and then you will be one. I'm telling you.
I'm a believer in Dispel.
I'm a Dispel believer. Don't you worry.
All of us are Dispel believers.
Oh yes. When the most played cards in the format are like Deadly Dispute, Snuff Out, Dispel is a very, very good in the format.
Just another copy of Blue Blast, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Like against Mono Red.
So I think the biggest misconception when people ask me about Dispel was thinking I wanted to be pre-prepared for blue decks. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Because as you mentioned, it's a Deadly Dispute hate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good at being that. Really good. And it costs 1 mana. It's unconditional. So compared to Force Spike, it doesn't lose the validity throughout the game. Which is huge.
What a joke of a card when like the most played deck is Grixis Affinity and like you're planning on going long. It's like you do not want to see a Force Spike in that matchup, I'm sure.
But I very much want to see Dispel.
Yeah.
I very much do.
Exactly.
I mean, Dispel is just insane. Just insane. Also, it just changes the mapping a little bit. Like, I've got Dispels for all the breath weapons already in the main deck. But also, the Junt decks are both Dispute and Breath decks. Mm-hmm. So I've got a 1 mana catch-all against their best cards. Again, 1 mana. It's just so efficient. You can just... For example, when I hold up 2 mana post board, it's typically 2 hard counters. Like, how do you play around that as the opponent?
I like your choice on Dispel over Force Spike so much because it all just like wraps around. Like, how you think of a deck is just like genius too. Because like I said, I was like watching your YouTube recap earlier, and like you just saying like how important, like how much 2 mana is in your deck is so important. And Force Spike, you want to hold up in the early game, but if you're not playing your early game, again, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Force Spike basically says play it on any spell that you can, because otherwise you never will.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's kind of a counter spell, but you don't get the agency. You just
traps
cash it in.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. You cash it in the first moment you get, which is not what I really want. And last thing about my philosophy on the deck, people play, for example, let's say Vapor Snag, those Force Spikes and Mutagenic Growths. But I think that the density of conditional cards just increases dramatically, and your deck is composed of very bad cards already, right? You're banking.
Yes.
You're
In a vacuum, yes.
Yeah, I know that. So your main selling points are synergy and efficiency, right? So if you add more conditional cards, you're further compromising average card quality because they're more situational and hurts you even more when you mulligan. And if you add 2-drops, you compromise on the efficiency. So I think, like for example, if you add a couple more 2-drops and mutagenic growth, that's like the worst thing that you could do from my perspective philosophically, because you're just again compromising on 2 biggest selling points of the deck. So like the fewer conditional cards you have, just the better it's going to be for you. So I'm even hesitant on the spell pieces. Now they're fine, but I can imagine myself just cutting them as well, and just not having cards that just die after turn 4. And those games go long. Like you can feel as if you're in control, but it's going to take you 10 attacks to actually get the game over with. So, which naturally means the game will be over when opponent has 5, 6, 7 lands in play. So yeah. That's my logic. That's my philosophy.
So another question for you: if the deck like rises a bit and you expect to see a mirror match, like what are some things you can do to like get an edge in the mirror match? Any specific cards? Any ways to play the game? Or like what does Dimir look like if Mono Blue Fairies becomes the second most play deck or the third most play deck? Like does that affect Dimir Fairies, you think, at all?
If you had asked me this question before the weekend, I would have said, why would you bother? Why are you even asking me that question?
Yeah.
But I know what the reality is. And again, sorry all MTGO players. That's my fault. I take full responsibility. So now whatever I say might then further influence MTGO metagame. So
you're drunk off power.
yeah. I think the best tools for mirror match are the effects that change the combat dynamic. So Brine Barrow Intruder is excellent, absolutely excellent, which is very easy to think about because it makes a ninja not deal damage, and then, for example, it just kills a hacker, for example, in combat. So naturally, as an extension, Cogwork Wrestler, I think is the name, would be pretty good. So, for example, if you already play 6 Hydroblasts, you can play 4 and 2 Cogwork Wrestler, which also comes in against Kuldotha, and it's really good against it, while also tagging the mirror match. On top of that, you can consider, and now that's a heater, Faerie Duelist. Now,
I am unfamiliar with that one.
This is basically the same kind of thing, but it's on a fairy that flies with flash for 2 mana. Now, crucially, 2 mana, but it's yet another effect like that, and it's a bit more main deckable. For example, you wouldn't play Cogwork Wrestler in the main deck, but I think you could play Faerie Duelist in the main deck, like 1 or 2 copies.
Okay.
So that could be another way to tackle this. You could maybe play Gutshot, but that's like really for the mirror match. Because the Cogwork Wrestler effects, they actually come in handy against Kuldotha. Like, they're actively really good. Gutshot, not so much.
Yeah, that kind of feels bad a little bit.
Yeah, and you could also consider mutagenic growth as the last option. So just play that version. But then again, it doesn't solve the core issue, I feel like. So yeah, mutagenic, I guess, could be an option. But I would mainly focus on the -X effects in combat.
Yeah, just like the mutagenic growth just feels so like
situational,
vital. Like I almost feel like I'm putting myself in a dangerous position. Like I'm like committing too much on a creature if I mutagenic growth something.
Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of how I felt. That like seeing those lists has never felt ideal to me. Like I've tried mutagenic growth in the red decks. Like I've typically historically played a red, like the red decks that's doing more things like Kessig Flame Breather and Fire Blast and Experimental Synthesizer triggering a bunch of pings rather than just Kuldothane. And I've sometimes like mutagenic growth in those spots where I can try and, protect my flame breather or my thermal alchemist from like lightning bolts and things like that in red mirrors. But in these sorts of decks, I get where they're coming from in including them, but I've never really picked up on it as something that I would be interested in. But that's just me.
There is one fallacy I think people fall into, and it has a name. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. So basically, when you play mutagenic growth, or any card for that matter, but let's focus on mutagenic growth, you're going to lead and navigate the game to a spot where you can convert your card. So when you convert your mutagenic growth. So it warps your gameplay in such a way that you make mutagenic useful, because, again, that's natural. And so then when you leave the game, you say, well, mutagenic was actually pretty good. Like, well, probably, but you played the game in such a way to make it good. But maybe if it was something else, you wouldn't have had to maybe make weird attacks and hope you get the last damage across, for example. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, we call that rowdy, like being game-oriented thinking here. I think LSV coined that term, like being rowdy or roddy. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I swear I'm not crazy.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Cameron.
Okay, I'm gonna take credit
for
this.
That's just result. I mean, it's just results-based thinking. You have
rowdy,
you have something good happen for you one time, therefore it must be good all the time.
Yes, not what did I say?
Results-based thinking.
Yeah, results-oriented thinking. Hippo, you're the one who got it right, not me. But I swear I've heard LSV call it like being rowdy, like when you're thinking, like what you just said, like this worked out so well, it has to be good. And it's like, well, maybe another card would have been better in the spot,
Mm-hmm.
Like you trick yourself into thinking it's okay.
I think that's been the way for fairies for like many years at this point. It's just been no one's willing to like change what the card was being played in that spot. I think that it's just been that way forever. So good on for people who wanted to change that.
I think another cool point is that because I come in fresh into Pauper, I don't have that kind of say sentimental baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually look at it through very fresh critical lens, because I don't have that, do you know how many people I've killed with mutagenic? No, 0. Doesn't matter. I haven't, right? Just, I want to make this list better. So why? I mean, now I'm building that sentiment for the future, so which is not good, but I didn't have that baggage coming in. So it makes it much easier for me to cut something that some people would never think of cutting, because how could you? That's
like
a
the sacred cow,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Exactly. I think we were just talking about last week. It's people like starting to cut the sacred cows and stuff, and it's like we saw that. Like the biggest example I think of, that's not even Pauper related, but like with the whole Pro Tour where Jake Beardsley won with Scam, and like the Neutron deck, people were cutting like the chromatic stars and stuff, and people are like, oh my gosh, how could you?
Yeah, Handshake just totally rebuilt Tron, and
just like when you get like fresh eyes on something, and people who are like, yeah, I do not care, it helps out the deck a lot.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll ask you kind of the same question as from Poppergeddon as for Nationals now of, were there any notable plays, any notable experiences? Obviously, you won the tournament. Was there anything leading up to that win that especially stood out to you? I'll kind of just give you the floor to share some thoughts if you have any.
Yeah. So coming in, I actually did not have high expectations, because rather than being kind of cocky, thinking I cannot ever lose, I was thinking the opposite, like, variance has to catch up with me, right? At some point, like, yeah. So I was very cautiously optimistic, and there were people that asked me, let's see if that was just a one weekend thing, or you just got lucky that one weekend. So let's see if you can show us that wasn't just a one time thing. I did show them, by the way. I did show them. So I knew that if I top 8, I would be perfect, kind of nice way to show that, I'm consistent, kind of even more than consistent. I'll be great. So I played the tournament. The first couple of rounds, 2-0, 3-0, nothing major. Then 4-0, I started feeling like I'm getting close to it. But our nationals had 8 rounds of Swiss. 8. That's a lot of rounds of Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I might be able to lose once. Because, or like lose once and get a draw. But like losing the second time is just out. So I keep playing. At some point I play Mono Red, and against Mono Red we actually get a draw. Unintentional draw. So I'm at like 501. And I'm just hoping for the best. And what was really scary is that at the top tables, actually there were 3 fairies at the top tables as well, but only I converted. But crucially, there were walls, double elves, double mono white at the top tables. And all of them are just god-awful matchups. Like, I might as well just give a handshake.
Yeah.
Like, just, sure, well played, good deck choice. Thank you very much. So, when I was 501, I know I need one more win to secure the top 8. But I look around, it's like, please, 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 please. Please don't. Give me something. And I was fortunate enough to get the only undefeated player who's playing Kuldotha. A matchup I feel very comfortable in. A matchup I think is widely misunderstood, by the way. This particular matchup. From which I emerge victorious and get to draw into the top 8. Now, when I got into the top 8, which again, I already did what I wanted to do, my quarters match was Walls. And that's another awful matchup when they begin with the Sentinel thing. Jasper Sentinel?
Yeah, Jasper Sentinel. It's, the 1/2 with reach.
Because I was like, okay, let's play. Faerie Miscreant go. They go, okay, Sentinel pass. And my heart just sunk. I was like, oh god, oh no. And my opponent said that, let's play fast. He might not even be able to play the whole top 8 because he has a train to catch. So I kind of jokingly say, we don't have to play. You could just go catch the train. No worries. Just, but no, they did want to play, sadly. And I got just completely demolished game 1. I was like, yeah. That's how the cookie crumbles. And I look at my sideboard and like, what do I possibly side in? Come on. Like in my Annul Hydroblast Focus sideboard. I just sided like 2 things. And I think I changed something to Snare Master Sprite just to have one more 1-drop that can be ninjaed. Mm-hmm. And it flies and they are walls. And then something else. But it was like completely inconsequential. Doesn't matter. And then game 2, they kind of stumble. They keep a greedy-ish hand, and I very aggressively snap them on turn 2 just to get the tempo advantage, which was crucial because then I could counter end everything they played throughout that game because they stumbled. So I won, but I knew it was like, they didn't participate in the game. Doesn't really matter. But again, to game 3, we actually have a game, and I win it somehow. And I felt like plot armor was with me. Like, I am meant to take this one down. After
it's your storyline.
Yeah, it just had to be. And then I played against arguably the best, or maybe formerly the best Polish Pauper player. So I knew that it would be a challenge. Because he's, and he played Glee, Junt Glee. And a matchup that people say, it's kind of difficult. They played Chrysalis and stuff. So I 2-0'd him. And I felt pretty good about it. So that was cool. And then in the finals, I played Affinity. And actually, game 3 of that final, so the actual final moments of that championship, is on camera. And just today, a couple of hours before we got live, I posted it on my YouTube. So you can go to Islands in Front on YouTube and watch that last game, actually, and see how I played it, which was pretty interesting from my side because my opponent resolved makeshift munitions.
Oh.
Ooh.
And yeah, exactly. If you ever played against that card, you know that it's basically GG if it resolves. But it wasn't. it wasn't. So I highly suggest that you watch it. Yeah, and then I hoisted the trophy. There are no particular moments, I think, as memorable. I took this tournament much more casually because I had much lower expectations. Of course, they rose as the tournament progressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was just fairies as usual.
So I feel that, like, especially like the first part you're saying, like you get like this feeling of like, man, variance has got to catch up to me eventually. But after winning like the nationals and stuff, do you get a little bit of that now? Like, are you like a little like nervous if you like play a Pauper League or a Pauper Challenge or anything with a deck? Are you like, man, this has got to, like, when does the run end kind of thing? What's next?
Oh, so I would very happily use up my unluck, my misfortune on leagues to then go play in paper and demolish everyone.
Yeah.
I will happily keep that balance.
That's my plan right now.
Yeah.
Been stinking it up in the leagues recently.
Actually, playing in paper is different because I think people are much more human when they play in paper.
Yeah.
And this deck really likes people to get human. Like, get a bit nervous, get a bit wary, kind of careful, like stressed. Like, this is a good deck to play in person.
It's easier to read your opponent's hand too, like in person.
Yeah. Get the vibes of whether they're afraid or being cautious. Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to walk back, if you feel able to share. You had mentioned that you think the Faeries Kuldotha matchup is a little misunderstood. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So people tend to think of this deck like a control deck, or it pivots into a control deck because it's blue naturally. But in this matchup, for example, people keep snaps post board because it's removal. But actually, it's an aggro creature matchup, head to head, where at some point you pull ahead on cards, and in order to do so, you have to keep attacking. And that's the main thing. You have to keep attacking. Now, naturally, I'm not saying just swing everything at every moment, but you cannot sit back too much. And that's the main thing. People, for example, will play like Ninja of Deep Hours and just never attack because it's a 2-2. But actually, if you attack in, you either get a good trade, which is great, or it comes through, they attack you back. But like, if they attack you back, then you can attack them back, if that makes sense. Like, I understand that they are mono-red and they are supposed to get your life total low, but you are also an aggressive deck supposed to get their life total low. It's not like they can afford to take all the damage in the world. So, for example, if I'm on the play and I go Island Pass and my opponent plays the Percussionist and I can Hydroblast it, I will never Hydroblast it. Because I don't care. At some point, I will play Brine Barrow Intruder, then I will get a good trade, and that's when I will have dealt with it. I've got more important things to counter, like Bushwalker, Kuldotha, or the Synthesizer. Because the game... Yeah. It's a sum of good combats, like favorable combat trades, and how many cards you have drawn. And it really matters because every card extra you've drawn, let's say, is a 1/1 you've drawn, which means is a 1/1 you can chump with, or trade with, or multi-block with. That's insanely important. And so I think it's one of the most kind of complex matchups in practice, and I think the better player will just win. Genuinely. Like, a limited player will play that matchup the best.
Mm-hmm. I like what you're saying. Like, if you're playing this attack you game back and forth, like, that ends up in your favor because your attack yous are drawing you pieces of interaction and stuff. And it's like, if you save up your interaction for, like, when it matters, like you said, the experiment with the synthesizer, if you say, no, you cannot, like, become card parity with me as we're racing, you're going to pull out ahead. I like that.
You can imagine it as a curve, like as a graph, and their damage output at first is bigger.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, At some point, when you've been taking damage, at some point when you're, let's say, at 7 life, this is where kind of it pivots, because you have drawn the 2 extra cards, or you have had 1 good trade with Brine Barrow Intruder, which is, by the way, insanely good in the matchup. Insanely good. And at that moment, they start to be wary, and they're thinking, well, I have to block. I have to kill the ninja with my bolt. And then, or some players do that to begin with. Like, they don't ever target burn at your face because they play burn as removal. Like, you play counter spells as kind of on-stack removal. This matchup is just so fascinating. I love playing it. Now, I also enjoy the fact that I'm 7-0 in the matchup. Well,
let's go.
But I think it's for a reason. And I had really good players watch me play this matchup. And I remember specifically, shout out to Pygonti, also a popular content creator. I was playing this matchup in the very finals of trios, and he was standing behind me. And I was playing kind of unorthodox. I mean, then I thought unorthodox because, again, I played a single league. So it was kind of vibes-based, but I thought it's the right thing to do. At the end, he just told me that if I play like this, he's not surprised I keep winning, which kind of validated that approach for me mentally. And then I kept doing that, and just works. So you're not a control deck. Don't have Snap. Snap is a temporary measure, but it's not a matchup for temporary measures. It's a matchup for actual trades of actual resources, especially in combat.
Yeah, and Snap just probably feels bad too, like when their whole curve is also 1 mana.
Yeah, their whole deck is 1 mana.
Yeah, so...
Yeah,
awesome.
And they do have blowouts. Like, they have, for example, End of Festivities. So like, it's a really difficult matchup because they do have blowouts. They do have explosive draws. They can go wide, and you cannot chump everything away. For example, if they resolve Kuldotha, you might throw away 3 fairies to keep up, which does happen. But like, you have to play it very smart. It's not like against, for example, Affinity. Like, oh, Deadly Dispute. I have this spell. Yes, use the spell. It's kind of like it's much cleaner in other matchups. Here it's a bit more muddy, a bit more contextual, a bit more, again, limited-esque.
Yeah, with like in the festivities too, there's that whole like parallel to like the Crypt Rats thing. It's like, all right, how comfortable am I committing to the board without like counterspell backup or spellstar sprite backup and stuff while I think you have this kind of thing.
I think you put it really well. It's a dance, and like getting to really feel for what that the for lack of a better term, the tempo of the dance is. You know, I think that's like a really rewarding feeling, and something I've enjoyed playing tempo based decks in the past. So yeah, no, very my words ended. My thought train derailed. it hit a wall. It hit a wall. Ran straight into the brick wall. At the station.
Started so strong.
I started so strong, and I ended so poorly.
Did you end up in the Wall of Roots?
In the Wall of... No, is that even legal in this format?
No, it's not.
No, I didn't think so. No Wall of Roots here.
No Wall of Roots here.
Amazing. Skura, is there anything else you want to share from your myriad of successes over the last couple of weekends? I think James has something he wants to mention as well. So we will do that first.
I had some questions from some of our listeners.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, is there anything else from your weekends you want to share before we go over a couple of quick questions?
Nah, I think I'm good.
Awesome. No, we really appreciate you breaking this down for us. It sounds like we got to get over there for Poppergeddon, you guys.
At some point, yeah.
We got to do this.
One day. Start a GoFundMe to get us over there.
So yeah, we asked some of our listeners if they had any questions for you, and some of the following questions came up. What is your favorite food?
Okay. That's a tough one. So, I would say ramen, I think.
It's a good choice.
Beautiful choice.
Oh, yeah.
Although, I do appreciate also Polish cuisine. So, I will also say, in parallel, żurek.
I'm not familiar. I'll be the scapegoat.
I mean, no worries. No, we don't need to delve into what that is. Who knows? They know. That's enough.
Excellent.
Gotcha. card you would like to see downshifted into the format with, I guess, the 2 weekends that you've played the format?
Yeah. So, without a ton of thought, my gut would say Spectral Sailor.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Now, again, I know it's a non-fairy, non-human, but I already was thinking of maybe trimming down off one mind. So if I got 4 additional flash flyers, I think I might be really happy. So my answer goes to Spectral Sailor.
Beautiful.
And I'm on board as well. I'm a huge Spirits fan in Pioneer.
Just leave Curious Obsession out of this.
Yeah, well, Curious Obsession can stay out of the format.
Yeah.
That might be a little much, but then that would be a whole different type of deck.
Yeah. And then the last one, what is the favorite fairy in the fairies?
So while I understand that spell starter is the default answer,
Oh yeah.
so of course that's the default, and yes, I agree that's the best. I severely underestimated Fairy Seer. Severely underestimated it. It's much better than I thought, which is an understatement because I thought it's garbage. So it's like it's actually decent. So Fairy Miscreant, on the other hand, God, that's bad. Just give me something else, please. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
I think I'm in for that.
I would agree.
I think I'm in for that.
I like that. Just the Seer smoothing out draws is just insane.
It's your Island Ponder keep of
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but unironically. I kept many one-landers Fairy Seer.
Is this Ponder?
And they panned out, so.
yeah, it's the butterfly meme. Is this Ponder? And it's just Fairy Seer.
Yeah. But like, please get Fairy Miscreant away from me. I'm done with it. I don't want to.
You just need like the 1-drop to get your start, like, especially if you have like the 2-drop ninja, where like you just need some curve.
Card is just so hideous.
Like,
it's like evilness. It's like an evil necessity.
Yeah, cards are already bad on their own. Why do I need to play a 1/1 with no abilities? Come on.
It
Just
flies.
give me something. Give me something to work with, man.
Well, awesome. Do y'all have anything else?
Nothing that's like burning on my mind.
All right. Well, Skura, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate your time, especially staying up late for us with our traffic mishaps.
Yeah.
Is there if this is your time, shout outs, plugs? Well, you sent us a bunch of links. We'll make sure we include those in the show notes as well. But feel free to plug whatever projects, Patreons, etc. you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have joined you guys. Yeah, it's nice to kind of give back. I mean, give back to the community. I mean, I'm barely a part of the community, but
we're welcoming you. You proved yourself worthy.
Yeah, to participate in the community, and I would like to say that you can follow me on Twitter. So basically, if you write Skura MTG or Islands in front, you will find me, and you might be surprised because a ton of content isn't really proper. For example, I'm one of the main European casters. Like, if you watched, for example, regional championships, last year or even this year, you may have heard my voice. So that's me.
Yes.
But again, on Twitter, Islands in front. On YouTube, Islands in front. On Twitch, F Skura, because my name is Philip, actually. So that's an F. And then Skura. If you play against me on Modo, that's also going to be me, either F Skura or DB_Skura, because I'm also a part of MTGO ambassador program. And I also launched a Patreon, which also has free pieces. So, for example, why should you play fairies? Or why shouldn't you really play fairies? I also launched like a cheat sheet for my Geddon list, for my nationals list. I wrote an in-depth sideboard guide. So, for example, I break down all the Kuldotha dynamics, as I talked about today, and for all the other popular matchups. I also have FAQ on cards I don't play. So there is much more on mutagenic growth, on smoke shroud, on you name it. There are plenty of those. So yeah, just head to Patreon and F Skura, or just Skura Patreon in Google, and you'll find it. And I highly suggest that you do join even the free Patreon, because again, there is something for you to read, and there is also Discord dedicated to Fae-minded people. and there's already almost 100 people there, even though I launched it a couple of days ago. So
Sick.
we're going to talk competitive Fae. I might branch out to non-mono blue, but for now, why would I have a Switch? So I highly suggest that you do join. And yeah, the more you support me, the more I can put out, and the more fairies we can get on Modo. That's the wrong incentive, I guess. So yeah, that's all the plugs I guess I have. Shout out to my teammates from Popageddon, Sodek and Fracom, my Polish podcast co-host, and of course, big shout out to the Polish Popper community. Mm-hmm. We've got a robust Polish community that absolutely love this format, and I got introduced to them. I'm now a part of them, whether they like it or not. And shout out to our biggest Polish initiative, which is Popper Dojo. We have weekly leagues with a given person who plays a given deck the most, so they can break down their thought process, which is also great. So yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'd like to think I was of help and provided some interesting anecdotes. And yeah, hopefully see you in the future.
No, this was an awesome talk. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and joining us this week.
Yeah, thank you, Skura.
It was really fun. You kind of fit in well to our group. Like, you got that grinder mindset for sure.
Oh, I definitely do. Yeah,
with the pinch of laid back fun.
Yeah, with a pinch of laid back fun.
Awesome. I don't think we'll go over challenges this week just because we're running on time.
I really don't want to.
Yeah, yeah. We have a little business meeting to do. Also, I'll just say Luffy won another one with Affinity, and no one is surprised. He won 2 of them.
Yes,
he won 2 of them with Affinity.
Or I'm sorry, I lied. Just one.
He just won. He did well on the weekend, though. Well enough for Kerblinski to separate Luffy out into their own category in the data. So, shout out Kerblinski as well. Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I just want to plug, too, like, I enjoyed watching your little YouTube recap, too, so much. Like, if anybody ever has, like, any interest in playing that deck, go watch that. And I didn't want to bring up Mono Blue Delver, because as I was, like, listening at work, there was, like, 4 different people in like your Twitch chat that are like, why didn't you play Mono Blue Delver? Why this over or Mono Blue Terror? And you're just like, just rewatch the video. I already answered this.
Regarding that specific video, I was also super surprised because I don't really post much on YouTube nowadays. I didn't until now. I want to, but I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I fired up the celebration stream, and then I re-uploaded that stream to YouTube as you watched. And then for some reason, I got 300 subs and 5K views on that video.
People are like, so desperate for popper content.
It's true.
Like, yeah, it seems like being both English speaking and competitive, like pro level competitive content, like it's a recipe for success, it seems, in Popper. So I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Beautiful. We'd love to see more.
Yeah, we'll be following along your journey.
Yeah. We'll be joining you in the YouTube streets too soon enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Awesome.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. Speaking of foreshadowing, to all the listeners out there, we had mentioned that we'd shake out the mailbag, but obviously that didn't happen this week because we got in our last-minute interview with Skura here. So we'll be shaking out...
Shout out to our friend Spencer.
Yeah. Thank you again, Spencer, for getting us all connected. We will be shaking out the mailbag next week, and then the week after, we will be doing our 2024 recap with Kalikais on the podcast. So stay tuned over the next couple weeks, folks. We got December rip-roaring in with some good hashtag content.
What is Christmas break?
And then Christmas break will be a fun little surprise.
That's true.
Fun little surprise.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
okay,
another thing we have to talk about. Anyway, Skura, thank you again so much. Really appreciate you being here. And yeah, that's it for me anyway.
That's a wrap, everyone.
Oh, weird comment again. It's the mustache power up. I noticed it from like the Twitter picture or like your YouTube picture when I was checking out the video. No mustache. You got a mustache, crushing tournaments.
I mean, facts, right?
Yeah, no, same here. Just grew one, just can't lose now.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Peace out, fam.
Later, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.
Did we lose you?
No, we're
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of
You're good.
giving you the space to proceed.
No, I was just rambling. I like to do that sometimes.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.